The Gold Dragon of the Gold Dragon coming in. I saw a Bruce Lee picture that was totally badass, made me want to do it. You guys got to check this out. Warning, there's going to be more videos like this in the near future. I can definitely see it coming. Oh yeah. Okay, I'm going to throw out a couple Bruce Lee quotes for some of my Kung Fu brothers out there, everybody who practices martial arts, just so that we're on the same page with some stuff, okay? One of his quotes being, "We tend to have more faith in what we imitate than in what we originate. We often feel that we cannot derive a sense of absolute certitude from anything which has its roots in us. The most poignant sense of insecurity comes from standing alone. We are not alone when we imitate." From this, I get that when we are by ourselves thinking of a certain thought, sometimes we doubt ourselves because it's just us in the thought. But if we're imitating someone else that has done something similar, then we kind of feel like, oh, he did it, so now I can do it. So now it's us two thinking the same thing and trying to do the same thing towards the same way, which makes us feel more confident in the move. And sometimes that's why I do what I do too. You know, if Bruce Lee did it, I feel like I can do it, you know, or if Bruce Lee did it, I feel like I want to do it, right? Because he's an idol. I'm sure some of you guys are going to have a lot to say about that one. Here's a good one as well. Always be yourself, express yourself, have faith in yourself. Do not go out and look for a successful personality and duplicate it. Now, I do try to replicate a lot of Bruce Lee moves, and you're going to see more videos about that. But I'm not trying to be Bruce Lee, and I'm not trying to be his personality. But when I try to replicate one of his moves, I do want to feel how he felt when he was trying to do the move, you know, and I want to understand the move so I can do the move. And of course, imitation is the best form of flattery. If there's anybody who I'm going to imitate, it's going to be Bruce Lee, right? For real. Come on. One more quote for you guys. Absorb what is useful, discard what is not. Add what is uniquely your own, right? From that, if you find moves that are useful, use them, but use them in your own way. You know, don't just try to imitate every single move for move, or don't try to imitate anything for the whole entirety of the thing. Make the information and the knowledge yours. But also, to make that information and knowledge yours, you have to have a good understanding of what it is. So at some point you are going to imitate what you've seen and what you've learned. And then after you really have a good understanding of it, then you flow with it and you go with it, and that knowledge is yours. And then at one point you're going to pass it on too, right? I know you guys are going to have a lot to say about that. Hit me up in the chats. All right, now let me show you the picture. Woo! Okay, so here's the picture that I saw, right? As soon as I saw this picture, it looks totally badass of Bruce Lee. And immediately I was kind of like, man, what is he doing here? I kind of want to do that, right? It looks totally badass. He's on the Jong, and I love working on the Jong. I'm a Wing Chun practitioner. I always wanted to learn the Jong. And now that I do know the entire Jong form, I saw this picture and I immediately want to be like, okay, I think I could do it, right? I think I could do it. But of course, there's a couple things to point out with this picture that I saw also. When you look at the picture, his Jong, right, it has like a indent near the top, kind of gives his Jong like a little head shape in it, you know? That's a Jong that's indicative of JKD, you know what I mean? So he changed it up just a little bit, right? So that's one thing I saw. The next thing I saw is that he has a couple different legs on his Jong. So maybe he was practicing a couple different things. It looks like he has a metal leg and then also a wooden leg on there. So maybe his Jong could spin at some point, and, you know, he's practicing different types of kicks on there, because we also know that, you know, Bruce Lee was known for his kicks and being fast. Kind of gives me a couple ideas right there, for real. Like, I might have to drill a hole through my Jong, put some legs on there or something. I don't know just yet. Also, as I see the bottom of his Jong, he's got kind of like a spring, looks like, that's connected to the floor. And his Jong looks like it would be attached to the wall. So maybe that spring is either he could turn his Jong, or it just gives him some push on his Jong, you know. a little spring action, as if he's pushing somebody or really hitting somebody. You know, a lot of jongs are meant to do that. So, you know, I can see these things now, you know. Most people might not see these things, but I can see them. I can see them now. Also, I can see that as he's in this pose, you know, he's got a very good stance on him. It's very well balanced stance. He's not leaning on his front leg and he's not leaning on his back leg. It definitely looks like an action pose as he's turning his hip into that punch, you know, and he's into the punch and he's 50% on the front leg, 50% on the back leg. As we know in Jeet Kune Do, he would have 80% on the back leg and 20% on the front leg. But in this particular pose, he's practicing, he's at home, maybe he's not thinking about it all the way. Who knows where this is in Jeet Kune Do history, but he's 50-50 in here, but he's still got a good solid horse on him. He's twisting his hips and his punch is definitely solidly into the jong. Speaking of the punch, as you can see, his punch is a vertical punch. Vertical punches are indicative of Wing Chun, you know, our Chung Choi vertical punch. Now, later on in Jeet Kune Do, he did incorporate some of the horizontal punches for certain moves. Maybe you might hewn and come into a horizontal punch, but 9 times out of 10, it was still a vertical punch, which means in this picture, technically, he was practicing Wing Chun. Yeah. Last but not least, this is not the Enter the Dragon Bruce Lee. This is a little bit younger Bruce Lee, just a little bit younger. He's got a little bit extra weight on him. He looks a little bit younger, but as you can see, his forearm is totally cut and totally ripped. It looks wide as hell. His forearm looks wide as his damn leg. I might get there one day. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I gotta start working on it. Okay, that's enough talking about the picture. Let's get at it. Okay, so Bruce Lee's pose was something like this. So he's down into his stance. He's looking firmly at the jong. He's got a 50-50 stance with 50% of his weight on his front leg, 50% of his weight on his back leg. He's really down into it with his hips going into the jong as he's making this punch into the jong. And of course, he's Bruce Lee, so he's looking seriously. Something just like that. To get into the Bruce Lee pose from a move, I would come in with a quan, double quan, leave my lead leg in front, come around, and then just turn my hip into it from here. So now I have the 50-50 stance. But now from here, I want to be able to juggle, so it may be a little harder. And also, I want to be able to use the Wing Chun training that I've been trained to do. So I would still come in with my lead leg being my right leg into the center line and then come around and do it this way. So you're going to see that as I'm demonstrating for the rest of this video. Real quick, I don't have any sponsors for this video just yet, so I have to sponsor myself. If you get a chance, go to thegoldragon.net, which is my website where you'll see more of the shirts that I design for martial arts and for just fashion in general. A lot of colors that I have on there are according to the chakra lineup, if you kind of dig that, which also goes into meditation, which also goes into martial arts. You'll see that I have the website color coordinated as best as I can for your fashion and the colors that you choose. But be sure to go check out thegoldragon.net, and if you find something, please make a purchase. I thank you in advance. From this pose, I want to see, like, how did he get here? What in the Wing Chun system was he doing? You know what I'm saying? So, like, how do you get here? Or from what moves can you get here? So this is how I would start to come at it. What would lead for me to come in here, turn my hip in, and I got a good pak up here. This is a pak da. This is a pak sao. This is the da, so it's like a pak da together. Normally, in the Wing Chun system, I would probably come around and be doing a move similar to this. But obviously, instead of a dim germ, I'm doing a strike with the vertical punch, right? A chung choi part of the Chung Choi right here, a da. But obviously I want to see how did he get to this pose. So I got to think about the move before the move, right? And this is obviously a mid-level strike, a da, and this is a pak. So pak da together. And then I want to think about the move before the move, you know, what would lead me to get here. As I practice, I would probably start and come in. I know that this is a low level punch, so it's got to be maybe from a block, and then a hewn to come around, make a fist, and then now I got it, right? So now I have to think about all of the reasons why I would want to block something low. Why would I want to block something low and then come around into that mid-level punch, right? So we just kind of play with it for a little bit and just see what we got, right? Change, come around. I could do the same thing. I kind of want to juggle. What are all of the reasons why I would want to hit this arm here, right? Because that's what I'm thinking. I wouldn't want to come, I mean, I could come from here, but then you have to come in, sink, right? Sink. That could work, but 9 times out of 10, I think I'm feeling coming in from a low block and using part of the Jong form to get into this pose. See, now that feels natural, that feels good. It feels like I'm in my good horse dance. I'm feeling very Bruce Lee-esque over here, you know what I'm saying? I don't quite have the forearms just yet, but I'm feeling pretty Bruce Lee-esque. And now from here, I would want to think about what would be the next move, right? What would be the next move after this? And something simple, because if you know me, I like to juggle just a few moves so that I can practice them over and over again. So then from here, I would probably just come into a good Kwan style, double Kwan style. Oh, now here I go. I got it again. Kwan, double Kwan. Here we go. Boom. Ooh, I was feeling that. That seemed to be a pretty good juggle move right there. So I'm going to try it again. And also this time I'm going to take off my watch. Set my watch over there because it was getting in the way. And I don't want to break it. Let's try it again. All right. Double. Come around. I got the strike. Boom. Boom. Come around. Strike. Woo! Yeah, that was kind of lit. If you like what you saw, gently tap that like and subscribe button. You know it helps me out and it helps this channel out. I thank you in advance. I like that little juggle right there. I might try to think about like one more juggle, just with a few moves. Again, I like to just try a few moves over and over and over again so I get the feel of it, the understanding of it. Kind of puts me in the mood of Bruce Lee, like what was he going through? What was he thinking at that time, right? If you want to get like Bruce Lee, you gotta think the whole sequence through. What was in his mind at that time, you know? Again, am I trying to be like Bruce Lee? Maybe just a little bit, okay, just a little bit, but not all the way, you know? I just want to incorporate some Bruce Lee moves into my moves. I've been watching Bruce Lee since I was a little kid. And now that I have the chance to do some of his moves, I'm gonna do them. I'm gonna make some of his moves my moves. Just like all of the JKD practitioners out there and a lot of the Wing Chun practitioners out there, we're all very proud of Bruce Lee and to be students and grand students of his and all of our lineage, you know. All right, now that I got kind of one juggle combo that led into the move underneath my belt, let's see if we can find another one, right? And one of my favorites is coming from this section of the jong. So I'm going to see if I can lead into it with that. I would have to come down. I don't know. I think this will work. So, come in. That works. And then come back, come back. That seems to work. And that's how I would keep on practicing that move, man. So now I have two juggle combinations that can kind of lead into that strike. And I'm getting more and more familiar with what might have been going through Bruce Lee's mind as he went into that pose. But out of all of those times, one or two of those times, I think I hit that pose pretty good, at least as good as I can do for right now. My stance might have been a little bit different from his because I'm coming in with a Wing Chun stance onto the jong, and he was kind of a little bit more into, like, I don't know, like a fighting stance, a 50-50 fighting stance, you know, whereas I'm more into a Wing Chun stance right here. So it might look a little bit different that way, but I think that's pretty close, man. Also, if you like what you saw this time, please hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel out tremendously. And also, I want to bring more videos to you about different moves for Bruce Lee, different moves from martial arts, different moves from Wing Chun. I might even throw some nunchucks in there soon, one day or another. But hit that like and subscribe button. Now that I have that juggle combo, I feel like I can perform it with quality. And then that's when I'll speed it up a little bit. A lot of times I believe in quality over quantity when it comes to performing moves on the jong and not just doing some rapid hand motion on the jong. The whole quality has to be there in your moves versus the jong. Start off like this. You probably had enough of me talking about Bruce Lee today. Please click around and check out my other videos and come back and see us again.